Hi, hello. Welcome to Devon Monk's Works and Worlds. This is the second time I am recording this Monday Monk video because I recorded the other one and I was going to post it, and then I noticed that my hair was sticking straight up through the whole video. And I'm like, do I care enough to actually do the video? And I'm like, well, it looks ridiculous. And I mean, I will be ridiculous occasionally, but I thought, I can't do it. I have to retape. So here I am. Is my hair sticking up straight? I think we're okay this time. Anyway, welcome to Monday Monk. We are on Monday Monk, maybe 79, maybe 80. I can't remember, but we're getting there. Pretty soon we're going to be 100. Oh my gosh. Should I do something special for the 100th Monday Monk? Give me suggestions if you want me to do something. I mean, not with my hair sticking straight up, but something kind of fun or different on a 100th video. Let's talk about that. Maybe we'll do it live. I don't know. Let's come up with something fun to do. Okay, so we are not on 100 yet. We're not there yet. We're getting there. Thank you for coming along today. It is Monday. It is drizzly outside. It is Oregon all the way up, and I like it. We need the drizzly gray skies. We need the moistness for the flowers, and the trees and the crops and all that good stuff. I was talking to my husband this morning and I'm like, well, it's drizzly outside. It feels very coastal. And he said, yeah, I love it. And I'm like, we'll get tired of it eventually. And he's like, not yet. That's kind of how I feel. I'm not tired of the rain yet. Not yet. We're good. We need it. So, okay, we're just going to cover the basics: writing, knitting, and things going on in Monkland, and see if we can make this a concise video. So how's writing going? Good, thanks. Still working on Nursery Crimes, which is, as I mentioned before, the book that I got my literary agent with, my first literary agent. It was years ago. The book was in pretty good shape. It was created out of 4 short stories with a 5th short story for background, and then I expanded it into a novel, which I seem to do with short stories all the time, expand them into novels. My agent liked it. It was quirky. She was interested in representing kind of unusual stuff. And that's the book that we shopped around, and a lot of editors really liked it, but said they didn't have a spot for it in their catalog. So I've let it sit for all this time. We went on to sell the Ally Beckstrom series. So, I went down the urban fantasy path after that. But I've let this book sit for all that time. And it seemed like this was the year to get back to it. And I promise you, I would not be working on it if I hadn't started a Patreon, which I'll put a link down below too. Something like $5 a month, and you can get chapters of this book that I'm revising every week. I don't know if I'm going to release it and actually publish it, but I'm enjoying working on it and getting it into its best shape so that it can be its best shape and be done, and something I can share with people, at least on Patreon. I don't know if I'll share it elsewhere. Who knows? I'm enjoying working on it, but I'm a little deadline pushed because I want to get the book all done so that I don't stall out a week and not have a chapter to give to the Patreon people. I'm really trying to keep the Patreon people, a steady feed of fiction. So we'll see. It's a challenge, and I like it, but it's also a little scary. And that's kind of writing. I like it, but it's also a little scary. So writing's going well. I also need to hop into Wayward Devils. I've been saying this for months, I swear. The seasons are changing. My schedule is changing. So I'm thinking I'm going to be able to get some steadier writing time in. I'm looking forward to that. So writing's going well. Thank you. Knitting. Yes, I brought it. Okay. I finished the knit project for September's newsletter giveaway. Sign up for my newsletter. I'll also put a link down below for that. Everybody on my newsletter is in the running for a knit toy every month. I give away a different knit toy every month. You know that if you've seen one of these videos before. So this was voted on. I did a poll over on my Patreon asking them what knit toy I should knit next, and this was the one that won the suggestion. I didn't give a picture of the knit toy. I just said, like, do you want an alligator kind of thing, And so here's who won. Bat. This is Vampire Bat. This little guy is all knit up and ready to go. He's missing one piece. I'll show you in just a second. He's tiny. What I love about this bat is he sits all by himself really well as a toy. Some toys are a little tricky to get to sit by themselves. And even though this guy has kind of a rounded bottom, he's so nicely proportioned that he just sits all on his own, being very happy. He's a good bat. So I loved making this. I knit it on our road trip that we took recently up to Tillamook. And he was a quick knit, which I really liked. And I finished him off just this last week. And this is the little trick thing that I did for him that I will show you that makes him fancy. Are you ready? Now we're going to see a fancy bat. So we went from regular bat, right? Fancy bat. Fancy bat is now ready for, I don't know, he's going to go somewhere fancy. Whoop, a bat party. Anyway, he's ready for Halloween. There, he's got his fancy little bow tie on for Halloween. Now this bow tie is a little tricky to place. It's a button on the back of the bow tie. Whoops, get it in the camera. I will never get this camera right. Button on the back of the bow tie. And if you notice with knit stitches, they're kind of V's. They're in the shape of V's. And there's sort of like space in between those V's where you can, if you are determined, make a little hole and create a spot for a button to go into. And then you can kind of move the threads around and then the hole disappears. So you could also do a vampire bat go into a party like this. Fancy outfit for a different kind of fancy party. So vampire bat and bow tie. I'm going to do it as bow tie right now, but it could be bow in the head. If whoever gets it is feeling like fiddling with it, you can make that little spot in the knit stitches for the bow to attach. So that will be given away. Come on, kind of cute. That will be given away in September's newsletter. So will Dinosaur, because he has not been claimed, and unless somebody gets right hopping on it, Dinosaur is going to be given away too. So those are our knit toys for the month. Vampire bat and dino. Okay, what else? Oh, then we just roll right into Monkland. What's going on in Monk World? Well, today I'm going to crawl into one of our attics. None of our attic spaces are big enough to stand in, and really only one is probably, we use one for storage, and the rest aren't even built for storage. They have like insulation, but they don't have flooring over them. I'm gonna have to crawl into one of our attics, the one storage attic where we keep, holiday decorations and stuff. And my husband wonderfully put down a plywood floor so we could store in that attic space. He did that a couple of years ago. But that plywood floor is covering the wiring for the lighting in my office, which is in the ceiling of my office. So the attic is above my office. And the lights have gone out. And it's not just like you can put a new fixture in that space or a new bulb in that space. It doesn't work. So we have to look at what's going wrong with the wiring. But he put flooring over it. He put plywood over it. So I'm going to go in the attic and shuffle all the stuff that's storing over those plywood spaces into a different corner of the attic or out into another room. He's going to have to go up there and unscrew, thank goodness he did it by putting screws in it instead of nails, unscrew all those boards so that we can get into the wiring. And then we'll be smart after that, which we should have been smart before, but we'll be smart after that. And we will cut out spaces, holes basically, just cut the plywood and then reset it with screws so that we have little door opening spots so that we can get into the wiring in the future if the lights fail. So that's a project that's going on this week. It's autumn. I'm feeling like doing all the outdoor stuff. I'm feeling like doing all the indoor stuff. I'm already eyeing rooms and thinking that needs a new coat of paint. We need to replace the flooring there. That middle bathroom, our main bathroom, hasn't been updated in years and years and years and years. We need to fix that. I'm just looking at projects because I just get that way in September. I want to do all the things. And one of the things that we're doing, which I've talked about, is we're rewilding our front yard, or we're making it pollinator friendly. I think that's probably the right way to put it. We're going to get rid of the grass as much as we can, and we're going to install or plant clovers and little flowering plants that are short that we can walk through, that the bees and hopefully all the bugs and the birds and stuff will love. We're going to turn our grass yard into a more little bug and critter friendly yard. We already have fruit trees in our yard and grapes and rosemary and a bunch of other stuff, but we want to get rid of the grass as much as possible and put in short flowering things. So it's called a LOMO, L-O-W, LOMO kind of yard, pollinator friendly. That's what we're going for. We'll see. We're going to start with just a portion of the yard and do our first try and see if it's a good way to do it. And if so, then we'll continue on and do the rest of the yard. If it doesn't work this year, we're going to do it here since it's autumn and see how it turns out in spring. And if it doesn't quite take, then we'll know what we want to change and redo redo it until we find a successful way to do it, and then duplicate that across the yard. So that means later this week I'll be finalizing my research for what blend of plants to put in the yard. Excuse me. We have some spots here in Oregon that and around the area that actually make these kinds of seed mixes, and that's what I'm going to go for. So we'll see how that turns out. But the other thing that I want to do, I've been talking about this, is I want to make our flowering flower beds, our actual flower beds that have roses and daffodils and all sorts of things in them, easier to take care of. One, because it's time for us to simplify. We spend a lot of time on our yard every year, and I want to spend a lot less while still making it friendly for all of our critters and lovely to look at, right? And not use a lot of water. Like, I'm trying to be environmentally conscientious about all this too. So, because one of the things we haven't used for just years and years and years is any of the heavy duty weed killers, the crossbow and what's the other one? I can't remember what it's called right now. Roundup, I guess. We're just not using that stuff on the yard anymore. One, it's not great for the environment. Two, it's not great for people. Three, it's not great for, bugs. Well, I mean, that's part of the environment too, but you know what I mean. It's not great. There are other alternates that we are using, but a lot of what we're doing is digging up the weeds, and that is pretty hard work, and we want to make fewer beds that we have to do that in. So here's my latest idea for the long front beds. They if the street is this way, our front beds go up from the street. So we have two front beds that head up to the house. They are wide. They're probably like, I don't know, 5 feet wide. Yeah, at least. And long. Too long. They have lots of roses in them. And every time I go out in the spring to dig out the grass and the dandelions and the blackberries and the trees, the squirrels do nothing but plant trees. Holly trees, pine trees, oak trees, laurel trees. What else have I seen in there? Filbert trees. The squirrels are planting trees in our flower beds, and if I don't get in there and dig them out, they become really difficult to get rid of. So here's my idea. Here it is. After all that complaining, I'll tell you my idea. I'm thinking we might put down bricks, like a herringbone style brick walkway, turn that flower bed, those two flower beds, into basically what looks like a walkway. Nice flat, maybe a nice design, bricks that come in a color. We could do a red brick, or I don't know, there's other colored bricks. And just basically brick that flower bed. Remember, the yard is all going to be wildflowers, so it's not like we're taking a lot of space away from our environmental bugs and bees. But brick that up to about the corner of the house, and then let that be a more traditional flower bed. And then on top of that bricked area, put big planters. Like my husband was suggesting whiskey barrels or wine barrels, and if they would hold up to the weather, because we get full seasons. We get, it rains constantly, and then it's cold for a couple of months, pretty, icy cold. And then we get sun, we get 100 and something degree days, and then we get windstorms. And so they have to be planters that can really hold up to that. I was thinking concrete, and he was saying concrete kind of might not hold up as well to the freeze, and because concrete contracts and expands with the heat and the cold. And if we got something more natural like wood, like the wooden barrels, they have a little more flex. The fibers of the wood have a little more flex for the change of seasonal temperatures. So maybe we'll try those to start with. Again, we're on a learning process here. But get big barrels, big planting pots, and then plant our roses and daffodils and whatever else we want in those pots, which would be much easier to weed. Like basically it would take the weeding down to, I'm going to say, a quarter of the weeding, maybe an eighth of the weeding for those beds. It would be in my mind, it would be so much easier than crawling around, literally crawling. I am on my hands and knees under those rose bushes, and those rose bushes have thorns, and they're angry. They're angry I'm in their bed, and they bite. So I would like to be less bitten. That would be nice. Not having to pull weeds all the time, especially grass and stuff. It's a lot of work. I like to be physical. That's part of what our yard brings to us, and I love that. But this is one place where if we simplify, we could put our attention toward other parts of our yard, like our vegetable garden, which still has lots of room. It's not like I'm getting rid of our vegetable garden, and less time on weeding beds that are not, I don't know, not simple. It's time to go for simple. So that's my idea. We'll see if we get to it. I ran the idea past my hubby. He likes the idea too. And that's as far as we've gotten with it. Like, it was literally, I came up with it yesterday. So that's a maybe we'll do this. And if we do, I'll keep you up to date. I'll show you our progress. I'll show you our before and afters. And if you have some other idea, like we were thinking about gravel or decorative rock, like in between plants, but I thought you're still going to have to weed that rocky area too, because our dandelions and our grass, we can't get it to grow in the yard, the grass, but it grows in all the flower beds. So it's going to grow in gravel, and I'd have to be out there poisoning and pulling weeds. And I'd rather, I think, just do it in pots. And then if the flowers don't thrive in pots, plant new flowers in pots. And I like that idea too. Or bushes. We could plant bushes. Or there's a cedar tree that's squirrel planted that is now like 7 feet tall. And maybe we need to do something about that, because it is in the wrong place and it's going to eat our back building. Our little woodshed is going to eat it. So anyways, I will keep you up to date on the adventures in Monk Yard. And in the meantime, thank you for being here. I very much appreciate you. Please have yourself a good week, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.